Allison Janney puts on her best Liam Neeson or John Wick, if you will, in order to help a desperate mother find her kidnapped daughter. Let's talk about Netflix's Lou. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Lou on Netflix right now. It stars Allison Janney. Like I said, we've seen her do comedy, certainly, most recently in the TV series Mom for many, many years, in which she won a few Emmys for. But we've also seen her do drama, of course, in The West Wing, one of her first big projects, which she won Emmys for that as well. And she is an Oscar winner, too, for I, Tonya. So all sort of either comedic or dramatic performances, and that is what she's best known for. But she's mixing it up here. She's doing a Liam Neeson thing as an action heroine in the new film Lou. L-O-U is how you're spelling that if you're looking for it on Netflix. Before we dive into this movie, though, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thanks for finding this video. We've got tons of TV and movie reviews for you to check out on my channel here. Please consider subscribing down below. Would love to have you aboard that way. Or if you just like this video or comment below, that all helps the channel out too. So would love to have you do that as well. So the mother in question here, whose daughter gets kidnapped, is played by Jurnee Smollett, who is really no stranger to the action genre. I actually just finished not too long ago watching her in HBO's Lovecraft Country, which was, it was more sort of sci-fi horror stuff, but a lot of action sequence, a lot of, fighting and stuff. So I think, she was well prepped for this. But Allison Janney, I think a little bit out of her element here. And we'll see how that plays out. But in any event, the two of them joined forces to find the kidnapped daughter, who was kidnapped by the girl's father, who was presumed dead. So it's definitely a revenge story. Really Taken. The Taken plot sort of plays in a little bit here, but in any event, this was partially produced by J.J. Abrams, our wonderful friend from the Lost era. And look, I love Allison Janney. I think she is, really, really charming on screen. She was very funny in Mom, and she can certainly be dramatic when she needs to be. But I certainly have never seen her in any sort of performance like this. And to be honest, I think she nails it. Now, I did read that, or maybe it was in a podcast interview, but anyway, she apparently trained for this movie with the same sort of combat trainer that Charlize Theron has been using for some of her films, and, some of the other female heavyweights of Hollywood. I believe Halle Berry as well, from that Netflix movie she did called Bruised. So, she definitely has the intensity sort of and the chops to do the fight scenes. But she is remarkably believable in this role. I wasn't really sure, I've never seen her give anything, false, but at the same time, I've never seen her do anything like this, and she just nailed it. And Jurnee Smollett, I've been following her since the Friday Night Lights days. She's another one who sort of never really lets me down, and I've seen her do this sort of thing before with Lovecraft Country, so I don't think she was as out of her element, but, she crushes it too. I would say the two of them together, either separately or together, really, because there's scenes when there's just one of them in the mix, and it still rings, pretty cool and authentic. But I would say that's probably the strongest element of this movie. I'm not saying the movie is bad, but it's just sort of generic. I think, we can take all of these sort of amalgamations of the last 20 Liam Neeson movies, specifically, I guess, but also things like, maybe John Wick or The Equalizer, where, somebody is just gung-ho about, this revenge, no matter what, nobody's going to get in their way, X, Y, and Z. And we learn, about Lou's background as the movie goes on, and I'm not sure if it will be a surprise to some people, if they've seen this type of movie, about, how can she be so good at, at fighting? Jurnee Smollett, it makes a little more sense because it's her daughter that they're going for. So, that mom strength kicking in. But yeah, another thing that is interesting about this movie, is because it is through this big storm. I'm not sure if I mentioned that part yet, but almost every scene is just, in the rain and the mud, and in what looks like pretty miserable conditions. And I know that Allison Janney had said that Smollett was just like totally up for that. She didn't care, whatever. And I think that makes sense too, just knowing her sort of filmography and the types of roles she's taken on. I could see both of these gals were definitely game for whatever was being thrown at them. And this movie is directed by, let's see here, Anna Forrester, who I am not familiar with, but let's see. She collaborates frequently with Roland Emmerich in various degrees, and she's been working with him since Independence Day on almost every one of his major releases. Not necessarily as a director, but more as a cinematographer or, DP or second unit director or whatever. So she's got her hands in sort of that action, world. But this is obviously on a much smaller scale than a lot of the Emmerich stuff. You think of Independence Day, these big budgets, huge effects, stuff like that. This is definitely more pared down to a Taken level, I would say. But it is sort of interesting that the whole movie takes place during a bad storm, and Netflix released it literally the weekend we had a huge hurricane, sweeping up the East Coast. So, a little timely perhaps in that regard, unintentionally, I'm sure. But it was interesting kind of to see almost every scene play out, in really, windy and rainy conditions, whether that was real or man-made on the set or what. I would have to look in further with that. But yeah, I mean, story-wise, it's kind of generic. Everything, about the characters, it is a bit generic. But I will say that the ladies really do a great job of selling, sort of more average material, I guess. But because it is such a departure for Allison Janney, it was exciting to see her in that role. And like I said, I think she nailed it. So I'm going to leave Lou with a B-. I think if this is the kind of movie you really like, I think it's probably going to be even higher for you, maybe in that B or B+ range. Because it is well done at what it does, but it just maybe doesn't add a whole lot new to the table. So, all right, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.